We're going back to the chorus one more time. Hey, you made a way. When our backs were against the wall, and it looked as if it was so. Oh Lord, you made a way, and we're standing here now, only because do it again, you when our backs were against, and it looked as if it was over, you keep on, and we're standing here. Come on, CJ, y'all got to clap one more time. Everybody, you do made a way when our backs were against the wall, and it looked as if it was you made a way. And we're standing here. One more time. Hey, you made a way. Hey, when our backs were against the wall, we gotta go. And it looked as if it was you made a way. And we're standing here. Let's go. Cause you move mountains. Hey, cause every waterfall with your power. You perform miracles. There is nothing, hey, that's impossible. And we're standing here only because you move mountains. You cause walls to fall with your power. Perform miracles. There is nothing.
said, Deke has an icebreaker for us, and I always like when you get these icebreakers because I feel like sometimes they take up a lot of time because we be really getting into it, but it's good though. So I'm excited. So Deke, go ahead and hit us with a good little icebreaker, and please, please, please type in your answers online. We are trying to be more cognizant of viewing them online and pushing them out. So please, please, please type in every question that's asked. If you have an input, please type it in online. We are trying again to make sure we are looking in that direction and making sure your opinions and voices are heard. So please participate. And Deke, take it away.
Okay, let's icebreaker. So let's start off with a good one. Which three words best describes you? Which three words best describes you? I want one of y'all. I'm waiting on y'all. What three words best describes you? I'll go. Three words that best describe me. Um, Faithful, um, humble, and real.
I'm gonna steal one of yours. I say I'm humble as well. I would say funny, and I would say loving. Those are my three.
I'm gonna say chill, considerate, and goofy.
Goofy was gonna be my number one for me. I would say that I'm goofy. Um, I am loving, and I'm consistent.
Three words that best describe you.
Uh, you got one of mine real motivated.
Test, test, testing.
Sister Chantel say loving, understanding, and willing. Okay, let's do another quick. Which way we want to go with this? Okay, what would you do for fun if you had to give up electricity in your life?
Read.
Okay. Answer? You said read, huh?
I think, because I'm very family oriented, so it would be anything concerning family, like board games, or we played a game, like the ABC game the other day, where we chose categories and like you had to go, with the next letter of the alphabet. Anything concerning my family or involving my family, I always enjoy them.
I was gonna say I was thinking outside. But I really love activities. I love doing I love doing stuff. Um yeah. So I would say like outside, just doing any activity outside.
That was mine. I was gonna say, go to the park every day and go running and walking in the park. Okay. Okay. One more. Okay. Who is the most interesting person you have met in your life?
One or three. I have
So however you want to answer. You want to say three? Three.
like they say. I would say myself,
Mm-hmm.
Shelby, and Martha.
I was gonna say, of course, my husband, but I didn't feel like I could say that.
Right. She messed it up for everybody. Now we gotta.
But I do have another one though. I'm not gonna drop names, but it's a student at school that I always talk to my husband about. And she just started at our school in March, and like usually when I'm meeting with students, like I'm gonna just be honest, like a lot of times I leave feeling depleted. And like I say all the time, I absolutely love my job, but a lot of times my job it just takes a lot. It takes a lot from me. But this student, like I actually look forward to talking to her because the mindset that she has, and she doesn't even know that she has that kind of mindset. She doesn't even know how much potential and like how great she is. And she's a very interesting person to talk to, just in her perspective of things at the age that she is. Like her perspective is just like it's out of there. Um, and I really enjoy talking to her.
I would. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I would say, of course, my husband. If he wasn't interested, we wouldn't be together. Cause I like to be entertained. I don't want to be bored. Um, he not like a court jester that's like that. But I'm just saying, like, if we can't hold a conversation that's interesting, we don't need to be together. Um, but outside of my husband, I would say my mom. I'm gonna do three. I would say my husband, my mom, and my team at work. Like the three that I work with is two ladies and a guy, and like me and the two ladies are in the same hallway. Guys on the 100 hallway, but me and the two ladies are in the same hallway. And y'all, this is gonna sound real bad, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but like we'll stand at our doors like during class if our children, because we have great classroom management, let me say that. So once we're done teaching, or if we know that, right, if we know that, the activity does not require our facilitation, because we want the facilitation to be student led. See how I'm working this? We want it to be student led, but we'll stand there and we'll have conversations from anything about relationships to children to Christ to, just all sorts of different things. And we all have three different experiences and three different perspectives on certain things, but it all comes together. And a lot of times, like, they push me through my day. Sometimes I go to work just so I can talk to them because, the conversations are so enlightening, and we actually help each other grow in various aspects, not just spiritually, but just in various aspects. And so I think those ladies are pretty cool.
Lance? Oh, you went already?
Good evening, everybody. Hello, testing. The most interesting person is the question. The most interesting person I have ever met is C. Lee Turner. C. Lee Turner was my theater arts director when I was in school at Prairie View. He was my theater arts director. He was the most interesting person I had ever met because he had a way of being very dogmatic, but he knew how to get the best out of you. He was the first person that I had, well, really the second. He reminds me of my dad, but a little more loving. But he had a way of bringing something out of you that you didn't know was in you. He had the innate ability to be able to kind of like embarrass you and inspire you all at the same time. And he himself was just an interesting person. He was like 6'4". He was bald headed. He was like really slew footed, and he was like old. And he used to sit down, or he would sit in the stands with his eyes closed, or we were trying to become great actors, and his eyes would be closed, and we'd be playing around, and he'd be like, "Stop playing on my stage." He used to cuss us out. But he was the most, I can go on and on about him. He's no longer with us anymore, but he was the most interesting person I ever met because he brought so much out of me that I didn't know was in me. And a lot of my like preaching and stuff like that, a lot of it came from learning from him how to command a room and how to do enough but not do a lot. And he used to, I'm gonna stop because I know it's not, but this is like a little shout out to C. Lee Turner. He used to say all the time, he used to say, when you're doing stage acting, he would say, this is not this. This is not this. And so from that, we like grew from that to come to understand that when you are doing something and you're doing anything, don't do it halfway, but give it everything. And I really loved him. I really did, man. He taught me so much in just 2 years because he left when I was a sophomore. But he taught me so much. He was the most interesting person I ever met in my life.
And that's the beauty of going to those HBCU colleges. Mine is also somebody from HBCU is Coach Pete Richardson, Southern University. I was a blue chipper in like 1997, 98. And like we didn't have 5-star then, we had like blue chip. And I had like a lot of schools. Like it's still a big story where I'm from. She talk about me all the time. But I had like a lot of D1 schools that were little old Southern University came to my school, and I was one of them students where, man, I'm not going to sit on no Southern coach. I went in the room for about 10 minutes, and he captivated me. Like he didn't talk about football. He talked about me as a person and a man. And I'm gonna be honest, man, I was scared of the dude. Like not scared to, like I'm scared of his coach, but it was like I was scared to disappoint him. Like he was one of them dudes. Man, I remember we played FAMU in Florida, and some of my teammates and me, we wanted to go out. So we kind of like snuck out. We had a curfew. We snuck out. So we got away. Had our little Southern, little jacket with our little pants on, little windsuit. We come back and thought we made it safe. Got back to the room, played the game the next day, like at 2 o'clock. Had to eat, come back to school, that night. He had the luxury of staying overnight all that time. Came out of school that night. But we thought we got away with it. And the next day we went to practice. We practiced well, and one of the other coaches, running back coach, walked in and said, "Hey, Coach Pete needs to see you at the practice." And I'm thinking, okay, go. And I'm looking at the guys he's seeing is all the guys that went out. And man, he was like, y'all thought y'all got away? I don't sleep. I'm military. Dude was up like 3 in the morning, like up, saw us come in. And he told us, take your gear off, come back out here, and go with the band. And we like, go with the band? Yeah, y'all, whatever the band doing, y'all do. We like, that's the punishment? Cool. Man, we go with the band. The band is doing these. You know when the band do like that? Man, we've done that up and down, up and down. When I tell you I respected every band member in the like in the old college after that, bro. So he just had a way. Like dude had a way of just had a way, man. Like even when I got kicked out of school, being a knucklehead, you the last person I talked to. And I just never forget him saying, you gonna go either way, bro. You gonna go way left, or you gonna make a U-turn. Get it right. And I ain't never got that.
I gotta say my wife because everybody didn't say their wife, but she's. It was part of the rule. I just feel like it was part of the rule. I'm just. All right, dude. I just thought. I thought it was. I thought it was what I had to do. No, but probably the most interesting person I've ever met. This cat I work with at TSA, man. This dude. I want to say his name was Domingo. That's what I remember. He was a Spanish cat. He was retired New York police. I don't know if y'all have ever worked with somebody who's retired from their first job, and this is like just something so they're not really retired. Their level of I don't care, we call it something else outside of but their level of it is like here. So he already had that going, and he was like the most nonchalant dude, but like if you sat down and he would just tell you different stories about what was going on, what his career was like, what his life was like. Dude was like the most, like he had stories for days, but his demeanor about it made him more interesting because he was almost unimpressed with himself. Like nothing impressed him. And it made him just that much more captivating. Like he was talking to us randomly and he was saying like something was going on and he was like, yeah, and they were shooting this video, and so if you look, I'm actually in the video for Jump Around. And we like, no, you're not, dude. He like, yeah, just like I'm on there. I forget when and where, but I'm one of the shots. Like I'm standing like this, like you can see me on there. I'm like, Domingo, no, you're not, bro. We went in the back because you can't have your phones up. We went in the back, looked it up. There that man was on the Jump Around video, standing. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. That's probably the most interesting person I've ever met, was that guy named Domingo. I don't know where he is or what he's doing, but I wish I had his contact info. I'd hit him up for sure, because I know every time you talk to him, he'd have a different story that was like almost just as live as the one he just told you. All right, so now that we processed past that.
Hold on. Sister Chantel said the most interesting person she ever met was Tashard, her son.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what? I could actually see that, though. He's a very interesting young man.
Yeah, I think you just have so many people you can name, because your life is being affected. And I was thinking, well, actually, I had two people, so I'll talk about one because I don't want to name drop, because people be name dropping all the time, but I'm not going to name drop Dave Chappelle. But I'm not going to name drop anyone. But I would say Dave Chappelle is probably the most interesting person I've ever met. We got to talk about that. Yeah. Actually, after the storm, we had a training in his hometown, which he sponsored for us. Then we went out to dinner, hung out, and talked. And what made him so interesting was that while we were, because most people at the table knew him, but they wasn't really like, he okay. We're older people. Yeah. But me and him, this was like 17 years ago, me and him and another corps, around that same, so I knew who he was. Yeah. But watching him and listening to him talk about how he sees and views life, how he views comedy, and also was blowing my mind was bouncing stuff off of me. He's like, Dave, what you think about this? Dave, what you think about that? And it was like looking on the inside of a person like that's mind. And it was kind of like, wow. It was really blowing my mind just sitting there and listening, having a conversation with him, and him actually bouncing stuff off of me and asking me, what I think about this. Is this something funny? What you think about? And and the range just kept going from a joke to about what's going on in life. What you think about this? How were you affected by the hurricane? What it mean? He would just go in all these different ranges. So that was pretty. That was he was probably the most interesting person I ever met.
So do you think he's funny, D?
I think Dave Chappelle is one of the smartest comedians ever.
Okay, so he's not funny.
I think he's very funny, but I know you don't. That's why I was like, I think he's very funny because of the thought process behind the jokes and to know where it's coming from because he comes from an organizer's background like myself. His dad was an organizer, so a lot of the things that he joke about and talk about and he fixate on is things that derived out of the community from years and years ago. So, yeah, I think he's funny. I think he's funny.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous by that one. I ain't gonna lie. That's probably one of the people I would like to meet most. Actually, is Dave Chappelle. For real. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all don't think so? We got to talk about this offline. We got to talk about this offline. So.
No, not Martin.
Monk.
Monk is good.
Monk is good.
There's a thing going on with Monk. Oh my God.
I like Monk.
It's like Columbo. Did you ever watch
Right,
Columbo?
right,
I
right,
never watched Columbo.
No, but I wasn't alive. It's
right, right. Fred Sanford, you wasn't alive. I know you seen Sanford or something.
All right. I guess the first real question I have tonight, and well, not really. It's just something I want to get into before we go into different questions. And I want to ask everybody 2 questions, and they're gonna sound the same, but if you're gonna answer, I want 2 different answers. How are you? How are you really? I think, because we were talking about this on our way to, where did we go? Lufkin. And we were saying we need to have another mic check. And while this is not necessarily a mic check, it's good to check in with each other and, make sure we're good. Because a lot of times we carry around so much stuff and, we don't talk about it. We just okay. And, somebody asks us. That's why I asked 2 questions, because your first action, how you doing? Oh, man, I'm good. I do it all the time. My default is, oh, man, I'm making it. I'm here, man, I'm here. That's what you hear me say all the time. But that's why I wanted to ask 2 questions. How are you? How are you really? And feel free to answer that in whatever way you want to answer that. Start. My first answer is, oh, man, I'm making it. I'm here. And my second answer is, ironically enough, I'm in a really, did I say that ironically enough? It sounds bad, but I'm in a really good space. I'm just in a really good space. Like I'm happy. It was funny. I was talking to my wife like earlier this week. I'm like, I feel stressed, but I don't know why. And I realized as I was waiting on the other shoe to drop. I didn't have nothing to do. I didn't have nothing to think about really. Like, of course you got life and stuff going on, but it was nothing pressing at the immediately. You know what I mean? So. And I can say for the first time in a while, like I'm good, like, and I thank God for it, because I know, and I'm kind of like, are you giving me a vacation for a little bit, and then I'm gonna be back at what's going? And I think that's why I was nervous, because I'm like, man, I'm not used to just being, like, I'm not used to resting, but I also attribute that to more prayer, more time with God. So, and I think He honors that. So, I'm just like in a really good space, and don't stop praying for me. Pray my strength, please, because it's working or it's going to work. So continue to do what y'all doing in regards for your prayer for me. But, yeah, those are my 2 honest answers.
I'm straight. I think that's both my answers. I'm straight. Like we say back then, I'm straight. Actually, what's interesting is that the Sunday, the trip we took to Killeen and you know, I mean, wow, I keep saying Killeen. I told somebody, I said, yeah, I went to Killeen. I mean, Lufkin, right? I'm lying to people. Yeah, man, we was up in Killeen. It was rolling. Lufkin, man, dang. I gotta go back and change that. Yeah. So, Lufkin. So the trip we took to Lufkin was inspiring. It felt good. It felt good being in the house, in that house of the Lord. It felt good seeing people that's working on, something that's God-driven. Because sometimes we know we're working on it, but we don't get an opportunity to see others doing that. And that really lifted me up. And then the brothers, we having the convo, just talking and laughing and crying. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was laughter, crying. I cried. I tell you, I cried.
The car ride was better than church.
It was the bomb. It was funny. It was
better than
it was funny, and that really lifted me up. And then I went and watched Flight, and that kind of put me in a whole different space. So then I had to throw in Malcolm X. So I had to get myself back balanced. So I had to watch Malcolm X after that. But it actually just made me just go into this week feeling really good, really energized. Yeah. And I felt like my battery has been low for a while, so I felt really charged up.
And can I say something? Again, just like this is the reason why I kind of wanted to bring the car ride here, because it we didn't realize. I don't think any of us realized how much we all needed that. Until we reflected later, man, I was even telling her about. I was like, man, it was just necessary. She was like, tell me something. What y'all talking? I said, I can't. You don't need to know. This is just guys, man. But it was good. That's all. Just know I came back a better man. That's it. But yeah, so I just wanted to throw that in there. Think you're gonna go?
How am I? My initial answer would be I'm all right. How am I really? I would say anxious. We don't talk about it much. But I think I've mentioned this before, that we're in the trying process of kids. I don't know why I air quoted that. But and honestly, if ever you see me, whenever you see me, that's on the forefront of my mind at all times. And I'll try and push it down. I'll try and push it back, focus on something else. But that's our reality right now. However, I will say that I am hopeful, because we've come across a doctor now that is, I guess I can say more holistic. Because I was telling my husband I really don't, and I think PA mentioned it one time too about how even the birthing process has become far removed from God, how they have all these artificial, he said, I'm butchering what he said, but he said something along those lines. And when he said it, it really resonated with me in that night, and I think we were at Bible study that night. It resonated with me that night because we were told that at this point that's our only option. And I'm like, nah. God don't need no help in doing whatever he's gonna do. So I strongly believe that we don't need nothing artificial. nothing artificial at all. So when we ran across this doctor, he was basically saying the same thing, that like your body knows how to produce. That's what it's been made for. God purposely made our bodies in the way that he did. And even with artificial help, your body still has to do the rest. So I feel hopeful now, because every other person that we've ever come across was, well, that's your only option. Well, you only got this, or slim chance, or like, so that's how I am really, every day, all day. Like, that's what's on my mind. Every day, all day, that's what I'm thinking about. A lot of times that's what we're stressing about. That's what we're talking about. I mean, amongst ourselves, but we really don't bring it up often. And one reason, because I don't want pity. Like, I don't want people to be like, oh, well, I don't need that. Y'all can have that. I don't need that. I had another point. So one point is that, because I don't want that. I don't need that. And then another thing too, I feel like we should talk about it more, because if we don't, we tend to isolate ourselves. And I mean, me and my husband, like we tend to isolate ourselves, and we get in a space of, well, nobody's gonna understand, or like there's nobody we can talk to about it, or like, I don't know. That's how I am for real.
That was a mouthful, but I think part of what you said kind of touches on me. My go-to is always, when I'm walking through the hallways of school, and I'm like, hey, Miss Scott, how you doing? I'm here. It's me every day. I'm here. I'm making it. I made it. But a lot of that is like surface, because it's either people are just asking you that as a superficial thing, because that's just what you say as you pass somebody up, or, even if they're not, I oftentimes, even me, I feel like you're not going to understand. So it's no point in me even, because even if you genuinely want to know, you're not going to understand. That's just my mindset. I'm not saying like y'all, but I'm just saying that's just genuinely my mindset. That's my surface answer. How are you really? I can truly say that I'm being sustained. Literally what God told me a couple of weeks ago, like, there are things and issues in my life, even outside of the medical complications and stuff, that I'm dealing with and that I'm grappling with. But whereas, and I'm going to just be translucent, whereas maybe this time last year I might have felt like I was losing my mind. Just being real. Like, and if you can't be real, there have been times, like within this past year, I thought like I was going to go insane. Like, but I'm being sustained. And what's helping me to be sustained is the fact, like what you said, no matter what you see or what you do or what happens, from this avenue or that avenue, if God doesn't do it the way that he's intended to do it, so on and so forth, it's just not going to happen. And I think I've come to term with that, and I've come to grips with that you know what, until God decides that he's going to move, nothing's going to change. Because God, you don't care about my frustration. You don't care about me being in my feelings. And that's not to say God is not mindful of us. I'm not saying that. But he knows what he's doing. So he might see us at a brink of, oh God, I'm about to lose my mind. He's like, yeah, you better do that. Yeah, okay. Because he knows what he's doing. Like, God is probably looking at us like, lose your mind. But he knows what he's doing, right? Y'all understand what I'm saying? So that's what I mean when I say that God doesn't care about your frustration. He doesn't care about you being tired and irritated, because he knows that at the end of the day, Isaiah 26:3 says, I'll keep him in perfect peace who keeps his mind stayed on me. And I think that's where I've been, y'all. I've been dealing with some stuff. And if I wasn't right with the Lord, I'd say a 4-letter word that describes what I'm dealing with. Like, yeah, that. She didn't cuss, y'all. But she didn't cuss. But I think I would say that. But it's just like, okay. And I've learned to start saying, okay, God, go big. Do your big one. And I just leave it in his hands because I know, again, until he gets ready to change it, it's not going to change. And I know that he is ever mindful of me. I know that he already has my life laid out from A to Z and then back from Z to A. So it's like, it's no use in me stressing. It's no use in me, losing my mind. It's no use in that. Like, Marina, just chill. God's got you. And he hasn't forgotten about you. And I hope I'm not being long-winded. I'm sorry, y'all. But we had a conversation. God woke me up in a dream the other night at the same time, around the same time he woke Britt up, seeing about the same thing. What that let me know was we're on God's mind. It wasn't the most positive thing, but what that let me know was, hey, I'm thinking about all of y'all, and this is me giving you confirmation that this is me talking to you and that you're on my mind and that I've got you, right? That I've got you. And so that's just helped me be sustained. And it's not that I don't get frustrated. It's not that I don't get affected. But whereas I would have sat and groveled in it, now I'm like, okay, you got it, God, right? Whereas I would have cried for days about it. Now I'm like, okay, you, not me, you. Does that make sense?
I would say that I'm good, and I really am. But I would say how he really is found in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. We're troubled on every side, yet not crushed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Struck down, but not destroyed. So how am I? It's very ironic that you asked this question because our Church 101 series ended, and the new series that God gave me was On the Couch. Wow. Marrying our theology and our therapy together so that we can try to become better. And I think that for me, how I'm really doing this, how I'm doing this, I'm good. But I think how I'm really doing is I'm limping, but I'm still walking. And I think that's how. It's a very short answer, but I think that's exactly where I am in my mind. Like I'm limping, but at least I'm still moving. And in my limping, I am satisfied to be limping because there's a part of me that really just wants to stand still, but I'm limping. So I'm good. So, because as long as I'm moving, I know everything will eventually turn. I believe in seasons, and every season will eventually turn. So as long as I can limp through it, I'm fine. Because I know eventually it'll all shift back eventually anyway. And a lot of what's going to shift it is me doing my own work on the couch. Or doing my own work sitting by the water to figure out how do I get rid of this limp in this season. Because and when I say limp, like there's a certain frustration that's like resting in me now. And I'm having to try to reconcile that frustration and that irritation while I'm continuing to walk.
Uh, I'm saying I probably would say the same. I'm I'm good. I'm blessed. Uh, a couple of weeks ago, we had a chance to go home, and I went around my family, and I don't know if y'all know, man. You go around back where you come from, and you just get around a lot of family. You see nothing's changed. Like y'all doing the same thing, and I'm the oldest sibling, and a lot of times I get you know the early in the morning call, late at night call, my sibling, I talk, and I always was a person. I always try to like that caring part. Like I always try to, be there for my sibling. Like be that protector, be that dude. And lately I had and I don't even told Deidre yet, but my sister, I got one sister, so it's 4 brothers, one sister, and she's and I can say that because I know she ain't watching the live, but she's she have a boyfriend that she been with for like maybe like 16, 17, right? And because I struggle with this, and I gotta get it, I gotta let it go, and everybody else is like around them, they're like they Joseph, and I never like really open up to do like I talk to him like, "What's up, Joe? What's up?" But I never really like, cause in my mind it's like, dude, what you waiting on? You been 16, like got a child, what y'all waiting on? Like, what's up? You know what I mean? That big brother instinct, like, yeah. And my sister talked to me at the last time we were home. She was like, I know you talked to him, but what's the problem with you and Joe? Like, what's the deal? And I'm gonna be honest, my exact words was, I'm keeping my distance because if I got to take that 8-hour ride, I'm a worker. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not about to do all this because I ever got to drive here for him. Do what I got to do. You know what I mean? Like, simple as that. And it kind of bothered my sister. Like, it bothered. And she called me back maybe Monday, and we had a conversation, and she kind of like expressed it. She kind of like said, "You always wanted to be that big brother protector." She said, but it's her words. She said, "I've learned to pick. I've learned to choose by growing up with 4 brothers. I grew up with 4 boys, so I know a good man when I see a good man. You know what I mean? Like my dad was here. I know that you don't always have to protect. And then dealing with that, my older kids is their stuff, their stuff. So in all that, I'm gonna try to make this short. You lose who you are when you taking on everybody else's issues, or when you try to be the Superman and protect everybody, and when you trying to take on everybody's issues. So I've learned that I can't lose my purpose for somebody else's purpose. You know what I mean? I gotta focus on my purpose, and I try to take on everybody else's issues. That's in my children, my siblings, my issues my family having, the business, even my workers. I try to listen to their problems, and I always want to solve whatever they got, make it easier for them. I'll put stress on the business to make it easier for a worker to get out of something. You know what I mean? So, in that aspect, I've been learning to take the burdens off of me. I don't need to carry so much. Like I don't need to do that. You know what I mean? And I just need to control what I can control and be there when I can be there. I don't have to try to be there for everybody. Because when you try to be there for everybody, you're not there for yourself. You know what I mean? And that's what I found. Like I'm trying to be there for everybody, and I'm breaking down because I'm trying to be there for everybody, you know. And I want to do that, but sometimes we just can't do that. You know, we gotta uh, choose our battles. I guess is right to say. You gotta choose. I gotta choose my battle. You know, choose. You know, and pick. You know, Lord, help me which way to go. Like, and let Him guide me. I think a lot of times when you do that, you working on you doing it yourself. So I found out there's no guidance in that. It was me. I can say it was God, probably not even nowhere in it, because it was me. It was my flesh just want to have control of everybody problems. You know what I mean? And fix it up, beat up. Used to be in that big brother mode or that dad, that tough dad mode. You know what I mean? Tell that little punk get from around here, like all that little stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but it's not. But you can't. You know, you can't do that, because in doing that, you even messed up relationships with, you know, the people who love you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm getting better in that. I can tell y'all now I took the right step to get better.
Sister Chantel said, I'm always the fixer, but I never learned to fix myself. That's my current season.
Yeah, and I read that one, and then as you were talking, both of those kind of something that kind of sticks with me. It's and I don't know all of it, but it's essentially the serenity prayer. And I only know it because it's associated with like AA meetings, and I had somebody I know used to. I won't share his business, but yeah. So I know that like the concept of it is grant me the serenity to change the things that or to change the things that I can change, but the peace to let go of everything. Like I said, I'm butchering. I don't know it like talking about it, but I know it. But essentially, it's just learning to let go, just like you said, just learning to let go. You know, the things that are outside of your control, and I guess knowing when to let go. You know, sometimes that can be hard, especially when, like, you care about the people in the situation, and it's like you show up sometimes. You're like, I don't know how to help, and I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm here. You know, and I know it's frustrating. It can be frustrating sometimes, but sometimes you literally have to step back, let go, and let God. Like and we had this conversation before a couple months ago, and I think it was in regards to one of her students. This was like a few months ago, and my mom told her something that I won't forget. She was saying, you have to pray and let God go where you can't. And like, I don't know why, it was for her, but it stuck with me. Like, you can't control everything. It's outside. It's not for you to control everything. You just have to let go and let God do God's work.
Yeah, I think the wisdom, or one of the wisdoms, you know, there's several, but I think the wisdom of life is understanding when you've gone as far as you can go. Yeah. And understanding your limitations and what you can and cannot do. I think like that's the wisdom of life. In that, hey man, like there's this situation and like I just can't do nothing about it. And I think that what you said is like how I live my life in this current season, at least, like as a pastor. I can't fix it. I really can't. But I can be there for you. And I can not know what to say in the moment, but I can absolutely be there. And in the moment, like, God might give me something to say, but it may not fix it. So my mindset is never to be like, oh yeah, I'm coming to fix something. I can't. But I can be here. If you ever need me, I can go wherever you need me to go. I can ride with you wherever you need me to ride. I can be there for you. I can be there with you. And I think like that's where I currently am, like in like, you know, pastoring. Because a part of my limping is because you know, not divulging anything, but there's so many people in our ministry who are fractured right now. And it's like I'm trying to support everybody and give love and care to everybody. And it's like every situation that's happening, I can't fix any of them. And there used to be a day where, you know, I would feel bad because I can't fix it. But like I'm coming to understand that I'm coming to accept. Hey, I can't do nothing about that. And I'm not even gonna try because I just can't do anything. But I can be here. Whenever you reach for me, I can be available for when you need me. But at a point, like, I'm learning, like, that's sometimes the extent of our help, because your reach is not as far as you might think it is. Or you get to a place where you're constantly reaching for everybody else, and then you get irritated because when somebody needs to reach for you, nobody's reaching. So just don't worry about it. You know, I'm just gonna be here. I can be with you, I can be around, I can do what you ask me to do, but trust me, I can't fix your problem. I just can't. There's nothing I can do about it. And I think that, you know, the people who are trying to pull on you, you know, it requires, even when they're in struggle, it requires a certain level of wisdom from them as well. You cannot expect the world out of me when I don't have the world for myself. You know, also this thing of reciprocity, like, you want so much out of me, but what are you pouring back into me after I finish giving to you? Like, I'm pouring out everything into you, and then here I am calling for one thing. Man, you can't pour nothing? Like, you ain't got nothing in your cup? Not even a drip drop? Like, nothing? You know what I mean? You would think, like, man, I know you got some residue left for what I gave you about a month ago. And then, no, I done drunk that all up. Well, man. Lady Sunny say, my papa used to sing a song that said, learning to lean, I'm learning to lean on Jesus. Finding more power than I've ever dreamed, learning to lean on Jesus. She said we find more power, strength, fortitude, wisdom, and peace when we totally depend on God. Absolutely. Yeah.
Else before we move on to our next topic. All right, taking a turn here. This is kind of one of those think pieces. Something real kind of. Take your time with this one. How does your understanding of eternity shape the way you view and approach life in the present moment, based on the teachings of the Bible? It's a lot. It's a lot. And yeah. How does your understanding of eternity shape the way you view and approach life in this moment, based on what you know about eternity from the Bible? What eternity is going to be like? How does it shape your everyday walk? How do you perceive even the concept of eternity? Told you this is kind of you have to dig a little bit on this one.
Yeah, so that's a little bit more theological. Yeah. But I think that the way that I view that word, or that theological concept, is how I view the word eternity. Meaning never ending, never stopping. It is ongoing. It's never going to end. It's going to be forever. Now, what I'm trying to do now is, this is going back to this same discussion we've been having. The way that it's shaping me is, I am trying to focus more on feeling the moments. I'm trying to focus more on feeling the moments, because when I enter into eternity, I want to make sure that all of the people that I touch, that I congregate with, that I fellowship with, that I whatever, I want to have everybody to have something to hang on to once I'm gone. So I'm looking at it from the viewpoint of, Aunt, you gotta give everything you have right now, because when you're gone, people need something to live with and to live by. And so that's kind of how I'm shifting my mindset now. Like, I'm trying to give more, serve more. I'm trying to love more. I'm trying to feel more, because, like, if I'm just being 100 and keeping it completely honest, in doing ministry 20 years, I probably shouldn't say this. It's kind of bad, but it's the truth though. Like, in doing ministry for 20 years, like preaching, serving, leading, like I'm learning that the longer I'm doing it, I have more trouble feeling things. I'm having more trouble feeling things, and I'm learning that like it's hard for me to be in the middle nowadays. It's either like I'm feeling too much or I'm not feeling enough. I'm struggling to be in the middle now. So
Can I just want to ask a question real quick. I don't want to stop your thought, but do you feel like the 20 years of ministry has in a way desensitized you to the certain festitudes of ministry?
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that I think like I'm young, obviously, but I think that I've seen so much, experienced so much, been around so many different things that men who are my age haven't experienced. Like I gotta think like if we celebrate 10 years of ministry at Word Life, that means when we started, I was 27. I started my family at 24. I started preaching at 17. So before I had even graduated high school, I was already preaching. So at 17, imagine being in a room and the person closest to you in age is 50. So like you 17 in a room with 50, 60, 65, 70, and like you're hearing all of this stuff and you brand new, fresh and new, almost like out the womb, and you hearing all this and you like, did he just say? Like it was brand new for me. Like I had just started preaching, and then I got in a room with a gang full of preachers, and they was all like 50, 50, 50, and they was like N-word this and N-word that and N-word, and I was like, oh. So it's like I was like, okay. So then when I was 21 years old, I did my first funeral, and my first funeral I ever did was a funeral of a 6-month-old child. And I didn't even know I was doing the funeral. I like showed up to the funeral to celebrate the family. And my pastor at the time was like, oh, you know what? You the youth pastor. You doing the eulogy today. And I was 21. I'm like, you say what now? Like I'm all down for preaching. Like you asked me to preach, I'm ready to go. You ain't got to give me no word. But 6-month-old baby, like what I'm supposed to say? At 21, I got no kids. I'm still in college. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And like that kind of stuff lives with me. And so I think, like I said, now I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to get myself back to feeling the moment because I've experienced so much, so early. I've experienced so much trauma, so much misinformation, and I've seen so many things early on in my ministerial career that if I'm just being completely honest, like it just messed me up. Like I can't even front. Like it just messed me up. Like it really did. Like being close to different preachers, like cheating and having families on the side and all kind of like it messed me up. And I had to come to grips with, because when it was happening, my mantra was, oh, I'm never gonna, like, I ain't never, not me, I ain't never gonna struggle with that. So I get married, I'm good. I ain't never gonna, and I never forget this, man. I'm just going to say one of my leaders one time, he told me one time, because I told him that. I said, man, listen, when I get married, I ain't never. And he knew that I knew, I'm like, man, I ain't ever. And he said to me, he said, it's easy for you to say now because you've never been exposed to what I've been exposed to. And I'm like, and then like you get to a place where you're like, man, now, you got all of this weight that comes on you as a man, as a leader, as a coach, and what people don't understand about my life and your life is that your ability or your necessity to always be pouring out on somebody, for some of us, it never stops. Like some people get a break, but for some of us, like you never get to stop pouring, ever. There's never a moment where you get to just sit and just be like, so in trying to find that moment, like it looks crazy and it looks like, sometimes it'll look like you don't love your family. Like you pull up to the house and you be sitting in the car. You know what I mean? Like wife come open the door. What you doing? Oh, nothing. I'm coming. Because I don't want my wife to think like, oh, I don't want to come in the house because y'all went. That's not it. It's just that like I just finished preaching a funeral. Like this was my week. So I can give y'all like I know I'm talking, my bad, but I'll give y'all my week. Like, so the Saturday prior, our dear brother Cecil died, passed away. So we left Friday night, late Friday night, drove up to Dallas. I preached Brother Cecil's funeral. I always like to say this, and people say whatever, but I like to say I take them right inside the gate, sit them down right inside the gate, and then go on back by my business. So I preached Brother Cecil's funeral, came back home Sunday, had church on Sunday, then back to church on Wednesday. Then I got another call. Hey, our uncle passed away. We need you to do the funeral. So that funeral was Saturday. Then I went and did that funeral for somebody that I did not even know. It was really tough. Woke up Sunday morning, came to preach Sunday morning, got in the car, drove to Lufkin, preached Lufkin Sunday night, drove back, woke up Monday, went and had family time, barbecuing, giving, doing this, didn't leave there till 10:30. Then back to work on Tuesday. When I get back to work on Tuesday, hey, I got students. Our students got out of school Friday. I got students knocking on the back door. I told you about this kid a couple months ago. This kid knocking on the back door. He's like, "Hey, coach, my mom did it again." And I'm like, He like, "Do you got anything for me?" So, and it just so happens that I have these beef ramen noodles that been in my office for like 8 months. He like, "You got anything?" So I just gave him the whole pack. Because he like, "Coach, I ain't got nothing to eat, man." So I just gave him the whole pack. Yeah. I'm like, "Here you go, man. Just take the whole pack. Like, here, you can just go ahead, do whatever you got to do." That's yesterday. So then here we are again tonight. And I think that's where a lot of us live. Like, we always got to. So it's like, when do you find the time to just kind of replenish, But I'm learning. I'm learning that even though I'm giving, that's my view of eternity. Because we say that like not comically but like thug, like when I die I rest when I die. But I mean, it's kind of true. Like, hey man, when I enter eternity, I'm gonna be gone forever, so I might as well give everything I got. And I told y'all before, like Bishop Brian said, hey man, when I die, he said, I'm not gonna give the mortician nothing to embalm. I'm dying empty. So I think like that's where I am. Although it's frustrating and it's very tiring, like I have to give. I have to give everything I have because I really don't know when it's going to be my turn to enter into eternity. And I'm learning that now because like so many people that are close to us and close in our age, like they're leaving. And I've been thinking this lately. It really sucks getting older. Like I've been joking, Sister Deidre, about getting old for so long that I'm forgetting. Now I'm starting to realize, yo, Scott, you actually getting old, dog. Like, for real. Like, we was working out with the girls today, and they was jumping up on this thing, and I was like, I did it one time, woo! And I did it like, yeah, Daddy did it. And I came down. I'm like, yeah. So, but I'm learning that, like, that giving of yourself, it's tiring and it's frustrating. But in that particular sense, like, hey, man, once I get to eternity, I got to give something because, like, my number one, I don't fear dying at all. I can die tonight, and it's not going to scare me. I don't fear dying. If God decides to take me, I don't fear it. I feel sad for my children. I feel sad for, my wife, but I don't fear dying at all. What I fear is dying and not leaving enough for people to remember me by. It makes me emotional, but that's what I live with. I don't want to die and I haven't given enough and my children can't remember me. That's what I live with. Like, I know I'm doing stuff, but if I die, I want to, for the rest of their life, I remember my daddy said this, and this. Not, oh man, he died when I was this and I can't remember nothing no more. I wish I could remember one thing he said. Like, that's my fear. And so last Kennedy, I feel like I get on Kennedy's nerves. She'll never tell me because she won't disrespect me, but like I'm always just saying stuff. And I know she'd be, oh, daddy. It's cool though. Like, I'm going to just keep saying it. Like, I know Kinsley, like, oh man, here you go. I'm going to keep saying it though. Like, I'm going to keep saying it. Like I'm at the graduation today and they like, hey, wait till the end to cheer. Kinsley, Scott, woo! Kennedy was like, no, Daddy, you're not supposed to. Hey, man, listen. This might be the last day she ever see me. I want her to remember my daddy was way too proud of me.
Yeah.
Like I wrote my name and he like, don't nobody write like my baby. That's right. Don't nobody write like my baby. You know what I mean? Like you got to leave something.
I'm going to repeat the question. The question was, how does your understanding of eternity shape the way you view and approach life in the present moment based on the teachings of the Bible, given what you know about what the Bible says about eternity?
So while you think about it, I wanted to go next because that leads into the answer that I was going to give. I was going to say that I didn't know if it was right to live life like that, like to live wanting people to remember me by something. But that's how I started moving. But I've started moving in a way that wherever I go, I want to drop pieces of God everywhere. And I want my fruits to show in every person that I encounter. I don't want it to be a dry moment where I didn't give them a piece of God or the piece of God that I know for myself. And I like for people to see that. So like, for instance, at school, like a lot of times people get frustrated at our students and it's warranted, but but I want to be the person that's different from the person that they encountered. I want to be the person that gives them grace and not in a condescending way, but because I want to give them a piece of love. I want to give them a piece of God that they didn't get from the other person. And I don't even know if they did or they didn't, but when they come to me, I want to be a different experience than what they've gotten from somebody else. I'll use for an example, this is a crazy example, but I used to work for CPS. And of course, anytime you mention CPS or if an investigator show up to your door, don't nobody like CPS. So every family that I met with, I led with that. And I led with, I can't attest for the interaction, because you'll know, like, if those families have had other reports in the past. So I'll lead with, like, I can't attest for how the interaction went between you and the other, and the other caseworker, but I would just ask you to allow us to have a different experience and allow me to show you that it could be a different experience than what you had. It doesn't always have to be a negative experience. Like, I'm here to help. I'm not here to judge. What do you need? What do you need? Because we have found ourselves in this situation for a reason. What do you need? What can I give to you? How can I help you? Instead of coming at you like, oh, well, you did this, you did that, your kids. How can I help you? And so in every way that I move, especially dealing with kids in the capacity that I do, and even with families in the capacity that I do, I want to give them God, and whenever they talk to me, I could be saying good morning, but I'm gonna tell you good morning in the best way that I know how, in the best way that I can put God in my good morning. I want you to know that I'm not just saying it just to be saying it. I want you to know that I'm saying it because that's how I feel. Like, good morning. I want you to know that I'm talking to you, that I'm saying good morning to you, and I mean that. I'm not just saying it just because it's a greeting. I'm saying it because I want you to see me. I want you to see God in me, in even my good morning. Something as simple as good morning, I want you to see God in that. And I'm going to say it in an enthusiastic way. And again, not just being like over the top and extra, but I'm trying to get you to see God. And I'm trying to get you to see that not everybody operates in that way. Not everybody operates just on autopilot. Like, I'm saying good morning, because, oh, good morning. No, good morning. How you doing? Like, you good? Like, I want you to know that I really care, and I'm really trying to show you love. And so that's how I move.
I'm just gonna say just to be just to be available. Um, Monday, our Deidre got to close our wash machine with that, right? And she said, "Oh, I got a guy named Mr. Maxwell. He bring his daughter to school every day. He fix washers and dryers. I saw he pull up to pick his daughter up. He had a wash machine in the back of the truck. Back when we fix washers, I can come look at mine because I'm spin all the time. It's acting crazy." He said he coming, and my mom like, "Hey, throwing it away, and we're gonna get a new one. I'm sick of it. You know what I mean?" And she like, "No, let Mr. Maxwell come look at it." I'm like, "Who is Mr. Mac? Mr. Maxwell ain't coming to my house. Number one, if I'm not here, Mr. Shelby, let Mr. Maxwell, nice guy. Girl, you better get out here, Mr. Maxwell. You get on my mind, Mr. Maxwell, huh? You know?" So she telling me, he come and look at the wash, and I don't win the man cave. I done set it up, kick back, I'm chill out, watch a good movie. I'm flicking good movie, I'ma watch. She said, "Shelby, Mr. Maxwell about to come out there." I'm like, "Oh, I know this girl, and call this man over here." I said, what's my exact words? "What are you telling me for? Mr. Maxwell fix washing machine, raise the garage up, let him go in there, fix the washing machine. What you telling me for? He the washing machine fix it, not me." And that's my exact words. And she looking at me like, "You serious, dude?" She, "Oh, but if I go out there," now when she said that, you're gonna have a problem. Don't go out there. So now I'm going out there. so I'm going out there. Because I want to see Mr. Maxwell. Man, I get out there, Mr. Maxwell, I get out the truck, man, Mr. Maxwell got late 70s.
Say this John Turkey better not be working out, looking with pecs out, bust him in this.
So he get out the truck, man, come in, and he asked me what's going on. I kind of like tell you what I know if I'm right, but I tell him what's going on, and but I see what he can't really deal with the washing machine, like pull it out. We got mad wisdom though. Like I didn't even know a washing machine had a transmission. Promise. He was like, "Your transmission? He was like, "Yeah, I got a transmission, a clutch." He flipped this thing over and he's showing me like all this stuff, and I'm looking, and I'm like, wow. And he like, "So what it's doing? Okay, let's flip it this way." He said, "Man, my tools in the truck." I said, "I got a tool. I'm trying to get rid of Mr. Maxwell. I'm telling you." I'm like, "Look, man, I been getting my tools. My tools right here." I grabbed my whole tool bag. Boom, there you go. Got ratchets in there. I got an attitude. Like, "Come on, Mr. Maxwell. Say this thing broke so I can send it to the road." I'm trying to get him to say, "Yeah, it ain't no good. Let me just put it to the road, get a new one." So he trying to, I want it to be broke. Mr. Maxwell, he looking at it, and I'm like, "Yeah, was he?" And he's so, man, dude was so calm, like a peace on him. He like, "Yeah, young man, I think, it could be your transmission." And I'm like, "Hold on. Yeah, it could be this." And I got the movie waiting, bro. I got some salmon in here with some rice. Let's go. So look, man, he calm, man. He said, "Well, I'm gonna tell you." So she went outside, and she talking to him. I'm standing there, and she like, he like, "Yeah, I think it's gone, man. Because the transmission, if you gotta fix that, then that's gonna be like get the brand new washing machine." I'm like, "Yeah." So basically, throw it to the road, right, Mr. Maxwell? He like, "Yeah, I think you put it to the road." And she go back inside, and out the blue, he say, "Are you a believer?" And I say, "Yes, sir." He said, "Me too. I love it." When I say this conversation went from the washing machine, like 2-3 hours talking about God, he and that like dropping knowledge on me, like wisdom. His wife died like 5 years ago. And he telling me how it's him and the Lord, and how he could content, how he sang, played the guitar, the bass, how he used to have a band where I was in the blues. I had a blues band, man. The Lord pulled me out there. He said, my mom was praying me out there, bro, and every time I went somewhere, it went bad. He said, because God was calling me to the ministry. He said, and I went to the ministry. This is his words to me. He said, are you filled with the Holy Ghost? And I was like, yeah. He said, no. Are you filled with the Holy Ghost? That's his word, man. I'm like, yes, sir. Okay. That's his word. And he went on, man. We talked. And he said, yeah, man, I fix wash machines. I fix cars. I fix lawnmowers. It ain't really too much I can't do. And remember, I was saying something about the truck deep with the lights and all that. Man, this joke, I was telling him, he went and pulled out the little computer, stuck it to the truck, told me everything wrong with the truck. Man, I said, Mr. Maxwell, you want that weed eater right there, man? You can have this weed eater. I gave it to him, like, you can have this. I think you can fix it. You can do this. He said, man, what you be? I said, man, I be, go to church, man, chill. What church you go to? Explain that. He said, man, you know what, I'm going to give you my number. I'm going to call you. Did he not call me before we came here? Called me before we came here. 10-minute conversation. Hey, man, I just called, check on you, man. See how you doing, man. I'm getting ready to go to Bible study, man. You was in my thoughts, my prayers. But it's just like, man, like, and a divine appointment, which I didn't want to have nothing to do with, like finding every reason to say, man, come on, dude, get this thing to the road. You know what I mean? And like when you're talking about it's like it teaches me to slow down. Like, you never know who come in your path and why they're in your path. You know what I mean? And I was just sitting there talking about everybody pulled from me, and God actually brought him to pour into me. You know what I mean? And I was sitting there like, and I'm ready to run them off. Like, run, man, get out of here, man. Come on, get the thing to the road. And he can't, and God actually sent him. And I don't believe it was even about the wash machine, man. Like, when I sat there and I thought about it, I'm like, man, God, you something. Yeah, because we talk more about, living for God than anything, bro. Like, I'm talking about real talk. Like, hey, man, it's tough. Tough, man. Man, you married? How long you been married? 10 years, man. You rub me on my shoulder. You praying for you. You know what I mean? Like, Mr. Maxwell, how long you was married? 55 years. You know what I mean? Like, dude was like awesome, man. When I say he was full of knowledge, wisdom, and I say, man, God, I should have known how calm he was. I said, you know what? I know that man felt me like, man, get out of my garage. But he never responded to me. He stayed peaceful, calm. He waited for that perfect moment to say, boom. Right, let it.
I do want to say, did you say it sucked to get old? Is that what you said? That's what I thought you said. Go ahead. I ain't touching that.
And thinking about the question stating, how do you live your life based on what the Bible says about eternity? Okay, I just wanted to be clear. Well, first of all, hell is scary. That's number one. I don't want to burn y'all. I think that's my number one motivating factor. Hell is scary. All caps, old English font. No, outside of the worms and the sulfur and all of that stuff, I think my main thing is like what everybody else has said, like what impact are you gonna leave? And I just think about eternity, like once God blows the trumpet for me, once my story is done, once he cuts my rope and that's it for me, that's it. I cannot go back and do this or say that. I also think that that shapes my interactions with people. I hate to be at odds with people. Even if they've done me wrong, I'm always thinking about like after I do that, then I want to go to that person and say, "Hey, how can we? Are you agreeing?" Yeah. See, I want to know. Okay, yes, this hurt me, or this doesn't sit well with me. But I do not. I hate I hate confrontation. I really do. I do not like confrontation. Again, I'm not a fan of hard conversations, but I'm not afraid of them. But I don't want to be at odds. So I try to do my best to be at peace, follow peace with all men, so to speak. And even like you said, in the profession that we're in, being educators, we come across so many children, so many people, so many different stories. And I think that that's also my mindset too. How can I give you God in the best way possible? Because when God opens the book of life for me and he reads every single instance in my life, I want him to say, when you encountered this child, when you encountered this coworker, when you encountered this lady, this man, you gave them everything you had of me. And with that I'm pleased. Well done, my good and faithful servant. I don't want God to be like, you had the opportunity, not necessarily to say, are you a believer? Do you know God? Do you know where you're going to spend the night? Not necessarily like that, but just to show love and kindness. With love and kindness have I drawn thee. And I think, like I said, that shapes the way I interact. Like, I talk to my kids real greasy, y'all. Like, I talk to them all sorts of crazy. I call them crackheads. I ask them, did they smoke a pipe before they came to my class? Like, I talk to them real crazy. But God can strike me down if I don't say that to my kids. Like, this one little girl, I ask her every day, I'm not going to say her name, but I'm like, you're on crack, aren't you? It's crack that you smoke, right? And she's like, Miss Scott, oh my God, you're like, Miss Scott. And I'm like, no, look at me. Your pupils are dilated. You're crazy. Like, and so, but watch this. But watch this. No, watch this. Watch this. I was absent for 2 days. And this child, and I'm always fussing at her because she's a young black girl, but she's like, ah! So I'm trying to teach her because I can tell. Ah! But I can tell that at home, there's no person to say, hey, shh, And so I try to be that example. And my way of doing it is saying, why are you smoking crack before you come to my class? And so, but then I'm absent for 2 days. I had to be at home with my baby. And she emails me and she said, Miss Scott, I really hope that you're feeling better. Like, I really do. I hope that you're feeling better. And she says, because I'm tired of being in Miss So-and-so's class. We can't even talk up in here. So when are you coming back? Because you like 1,000% better. This is the email. I remember it. You like 1,000%, and I can pull it up. You're 1,000% better than so-and-so and these other teachers, and really like you one of my favorite teachers. But when are you coming back? Because we can't even talk up in here. That says to me that what I'm doing is working. Because even when she sees me in the hallway and she's like, ah, and I'm like, crack. She's like, okay, you're right. Bring that crack down. She brings her high down. And I'm like that with a bunch of my students. And like I said, I talk to them crazy. I'm like, I will wring your neck right now. I will hang you from the ceiling. Don't think because you're taller than me, I won't slap you in your throat. Like, this is the way I talk to my kids. But then when something is going wrong, they come to 211. Miss Scott, they trying to, I'm sorry for going on, but this is real. It was a young man, he's a 7th grader now, I teach 6th grade. He was my student last year. I come out into the hallway, I'm supposed to be going to lunch. Y'all know we got 30 minutes, which really feels like 10. And I had to go get food. So, now it breaks it down to like 5. So I come out into the hallway, and he's not okay, but he's on the ground like this. And so I didn't recognize him at first. He's not like that. But I didn't recognize him at first. I saw another teacher. She was kind of kneeled beside him, and all I heard was, and so I looked, and I stopped and I mounted to her, and I said, "Is that?" She said, "Yeah." And so I got right here, honest to God. I got right here, and I said, "What's wrong, son?" "I'm just so tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired." I said, "You tired of what?" "They trying to suspend me." Basically, the story was his girlfriend. It was some other little boys messing with her. And it was some other little boys messing with her, trying to get whatever she had in her purse. So she hands it to him. This is on camera. She hands it to him. He's like, okay. He's a smart kid. He's like, there's 3 of them. They all bigger than me. I'm not about to get beat up. So he tries to get away so that they don't get to the purse, because he's also trying to, protect her. And so then they surround him. And he says, "I'm not about to get jumped over this purse." So he's like, "Hey, man, okay." But his intention was, let me help her. So on camera, another staff sees these other boys going in it. Then they shove it back to the kid that's on the ground. Well, they then take him to the office when she comes back and says, "Oh, $10 is missing from my purse." They take him to the office, and then basically they're trying to suspend him, trying to blame everything. The other staff member is not sticking up for him. That's odd. The girl is saying, "Oh, I'm going to tell them the truth." She's not going in there and saying, "I handed him the purse." Again, there's cameras. So he's on the ground crying, and he's like, "I'm so tired. No matter what I do, it seems like it doesn't work, and I'm tired of stressing my mama out. She just had a stroke the other week, and he said I'm gonna cause her to die and all this other kind of stuff." So here's what I told him. I said, "We coming up to the last week of school, right?" "Yes, ma'am." I said, "You passing your classes?" "Yes, ma'am." "Your mom out the hospital?" "Yes, ma'am." This right here, null and void. Let them suspend you. Now you get more time to be at home to take care of your mama. I said, an honest man speaks his truth and speaks his peace and is at peace, and the truth will always tell itself. I said, they got cameras for it. They got other staff members. They got that other little girl. It is what it is. My kids know that they can come to me, and that, because I told them, I said, I will walk to Miss So-and-so, the AP, and I said, I will stand in her office. I said, when your mama gets here, I said, y'all come find me. Because I know your mama. I know her well. It is what it is. And the other teacher was saying the same thing. We got your back. Again, I asked my kid. He was one of them I asked, was he on crack last year? But at the end of the day, he's like, yeah, Miss Scott, I know you got me. That's what he said. I know you got me. And my mama know you got me too. That's the kind of thing that I think about when I think about eternity and I'm done here on this earth. Do people see me at my core? And not Marina, not Sunny at my core. Do people see God when they see me? I walked past the glass doors. I saw his mama. She said, all right. But again, I'm leaving that mark of, at the end of the day, this is who she really is, and she exemplifies Christ. She exemplifies somebody who's here to help. I got up and I walked him back to SAC. By the time we were walking, he was like, yeah, they can't mess with me. Yeah. I'm like, you're right, son. Now go sit in the room and do what they ask you to do. Do what they ask you to do. I said, but if you need me, come find me. That's what I think about when everything is said and done.
This is kind. I'm sorry, D. This is kind of it's not off topic, but I want to piggyback off what you said. The importance of having kids. So you said the kid was like, I know you got me. Like, that's what I do. So, and I don't care if I have to call a teacher out. Sorry, teacher. I don't care if I have to call a teacher out. I don't care if I have to tell a teacher that they're wrong. I don't care if I have to tell an administrator that they're wrong. What I'm not gonna do is, because a lot of times with kids, because we are adults, everybody believes the adult. and everybody takes up for the adult because they're the adult. No. No. I'm a cut for a kid 100%. I don't care who I gotta tell, who I gotta go off on, but what I'm not gonna do is let you wrong a kid in front of me. Or me hear about it and not say nothing about it. Because if it were my kid, I would want the same thing I would want somebody to do the same thing for my kid. Because if not, I'm up there. And especially if you saw it and you didn't say nothing and you ain't cut for my kid.
Now I got beef with you.
Now I want my one with you.
Yeah.
Cause like why would you do that?
Yeah.
So I always do that, and like I don't care who I gotta call out, who I gotta talk to, who I gotta reprimand. I don't care who it is. And I promise I don't care who it is. Yeah. Principal, AP, I'm sorry, if the kid was not wrong, then that kid needs to know that somebody is there.
They're gonna advocate.
Right, that somebody will advocate for them and fight for them. The worst thing you can do for a kid is a kid be innocent and they feel like they're stuck and nobody hears them. Nobody like that's it's a sunken place for a kid to be in, for a kid to feel like I can't do anything because I'm a kid and nobody's gonna believe me because I'm a kid. And a lot of times in schools, how administrators move, they want to move to protect their they want to move to protect the title and to protect their employees. And I get that, but you need to let your employees know when they're wrong. And I do it in front of the kid because a lot of times too they say, oh, well, don't do that in front. No, I'm gonna do it in front of the kid because I want the kid to know that I'm telling you that you're wrong. Yeah. And I don't care. Like I'm not gonna pull you aside. No, if you wronged a kid purposely, knowingly, because you knew that somebody was gonna cut for you and take up, no.
That's right.
What you did was wrong. Yeah. And if it was the kid, then I'll call the kid out too. Well, maybe you could have handled it another way. However, I get it. Like I honestly, I would have reacted the same way. But like, I'm not just gonna let it slide. Like, and I feel like that is so important in schools and with kids. And I don't think a lot of times kids have that advocate for them.
Then what's the point of doing right?
You know what I realized real quick is that like, and I learned this in like my first, probably like my second, third year. I realized that for a lot of the kids, and I know it's not a discussion on education, but we're talking about like leaving marks. And I think that a lot of times, like what I came to understand is that when a kid gets to me, like I'm the first time or really the only place where he has to be a subordinate. Because like I have a lot of kids who when they get home, they handle everything. Because mom's working 3 jobs, dad's not there. So when he's getting home, he's feeding his little brother that's in the 1st grade, feeding his little sister that's in the 4th grade. He's getting ready to eat whatever is next. Then he's going outside trying to play, trying to find some money because we got to eat tomorrow. Sometimes ain't seen mama. Sometimes mama's strung out, and then he got to find a way to let the whole family eat. And then he comes and sit in my class, and then I'm like, hey, sit down. And he like, you talking to me? Because he's normally the one telling everybody else to sit down. But you know what I came to understand is that they love that. Yeah. Because they love the opportunity to be a kid again. Because in other instances, they're not a kid. Yeah. And I have the same thing, Sister Britt, like the teachers hate to see me coming. Because like I'm a coach. So like when you see me, like I do walkthroughs all the time. I'm walking through the classroom, I'm peeping in. Because my guys know, like, if I see you in class and you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing, we all running. So they all know. And I'll see them out and they peep. Hey, go Scott at the door. Hey, go Scott at the door. Go Scott. Because they know, like, they don't even be doing nothing wrong, but they just, you know how it is, like, when you know somebody looking, you be, man, you ain't typing nothing on that laptop, man. But, like, the teachers, like, you know, they hate to, because we have this a lot of times. And I'll have a kid who got, Sister Deidre, like a 67 in the class. And it's about to be, he about to be ineligible. So I come talking to the teacher like, and like I'm gonna let him know too. Like I'm gonna let, hey man, I'm gonna go talk to her. But like I ain't gonna sell my soul. But I'm gonna go talk to her. And like but it's me advocating for them. I'm like, listen, and I'm telling the teachers, I was like, this is only gonna go one or two ways. I say, number one, he's gonna fight hard because athletics means more to him than anything. Or number two, the next 3 weeks in your class are gonna be pure hell. So you got to decide how you want it. It's either going to be pure hell or he going to work really hard. And odds are, if you give him a 68, he's probably not going to work really hard for you because in his mind, you can give me 2 points. Because in kids' mind, I didn't fail. You failed me, D. Hey, coach, Mr. Thomas failed me. Oh, he failed you? Show me your grades. 0, 0, 13, 52, 46. 5. Oh, no, he didn't fail you. You failed. Ain't no he failed you. It's you, dog. You got to do your work, man. It's on you. But even in their, like you said, even in their wrongness, like, I'm going to fight for you. I'll try. I'll try to advocate for you because I want you to know that even in your wrong, you still have me. One of my main guys who I never would have thought would do this. Vaping is really big on middle school campuses, maybe high school too, I don't know. And one of the guys that like worked for me all season long, football, basketball, he did something that was very stupid. They were selling edibles at school. And he thought now I understand, like when I was a kid, how my parents would be like, I was born at night, but not last night. Because he like, hey, coach, I thought it was Sour Patch Kids. So I'm like, my mind immediately goes, like, Brother Shelby, if you got Sour Patch Kids, I'm like, oh, let me get a few of them. Right. Not, hey, let me get one Sour Patch Kid. Because who gonna eat one Sour Patch Kid? Right. Hey, come on. And, I'm going to try to flip it up a little bit on that backside, like, try to make them accidentally come in. Yeah, like, oh, it done touched my hand now. I know you don't want it now. So he he was in there, and, like, I went in there, and he's in the AP's office. And he, like, sitting down, and he, like, so then, like, I opened the door, Miss Beatty come out, and she like, you want to talk to him, coach? So she opened the door, so I walked in, and as soon as he saw me, he stopped. And he just like started crying. So I like pulled the chair up to him and I said, hey man, listen. I said, I'm really disappointed in you. I said, I know that you know better than that. You're making your mama look bad. You're making your family look bad, and most importantly, you're making yourself look bad. I said, but here's what I want you to know. I still love you. I told him, you can eat the whole pack, and I'm still gonna be here. Once you get sober, if you don't pass out and die, I'm still gonna be here. I'll be here to pick you up when you mess up. I'll be here to celebrate you when you do bad. I'm always gonna be here. Because I said, once I'm your coach, I'm always your coach. And like he just broke down because like he was disappointed in himself. And that's how you know you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing because you don't know what it's going to do. Mm-hmm. So he like taking one like, you don't know nothing about this, man. This is not where you come from. This is not what you do. That's why you in here. I'm like, man, what is wrong with you, dog? You tripping. But I told him, I'm like, hey, man, I still love you, though. Like, you're gonna go to annex. I can't get you out of this. Because, my boy, I go so hard for him. They think you can get him out of it. Like, hey, bro, you did drugs in school. Yeah. I can't get you out of this. Like, you do so much for these kids. Sometimes they think you can rescue them. Like, bro, you ain't nothing I can do about drugs. If you fight somebody in the hallway, like, you taking it out of my hands, man. Like, I might can get your OSS moved back one day so you can play, but you gonna go down, though. Like, you gonna go down. Like, I can't do nothing. Like, if you would have told me, coach, back in the locker room. Man, But when you do it in a hallway, it ain't nothing I can do, man.
This is so good. No, that makes me think about something that I tell my kids. Yeah, I see it. That I tell my kids. I tell them, you know, especially when, like what you were saying, adults are very wrong at times in the education system, especially when you have dealing with these. Because where I am, I'm at Aldine Middle, Aldine Bender, Aldine Westfield, Beltway 8. Right there, and she's right next door to me. And her campus is the kids that, and I hate to say it like this, but it's the only way other people are going to understand, the rejects. Like, that's the only way other people are going to understand. These are the kids that most people have given up on, that she has. A lot of my campus hasn't reached that point yet, but there's still the kids that all the surrounding areas looks at and says, not them, because of where they come from. I get the Haverstock kids. I get all of Aldine Bender. I get all of